We are going to be talking about the biggest takeaways from day one of 49ers minicamp. Right now, we're going to get into it right after this. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What is going down, gang? We have day one of mandatory minicamp in the books for the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of stuff to come out of there today down there in Santa Clara from all the beat reporters and all the credential media members that are down there getting us this information. Obviously, we've got clips, we've got sound bites, we've got some information, all different kinds of things. So basically, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to go down the list, talking about some of the biggest takeaways from today, what it means for the future, concerns, no concerns, things like that. So one of the things that I did want to talk about is Deebo Samuel. I think Deebo Samuel, hearing from Deebo Samuel today and listening to what Deebo had to say, kind of gave a self-assessment of his season last year and just talked about and had a, just, being honest, man. Like, I think that's all we can ask for from these guys. I don't think anyone would tell you that Deebo Samuel had his best year last year, especially off the show that he, or excuse me, off the season that he just had that got him paid. Obviously, we understand all the drama that came along with the contract negotiation, the trade situation, and the holdout. And, it probably just translated, and, Deebo talked about it too, just translated into him not being in his normal routine, not staying in football shape, and just really didn't put good stuff on tape. We've looked at that before too. Like we do a lot of tape and film breakdowns, and we've seen instances where Deebo definitely looks fantastic. You can go back to Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks wild card game where he had that huge touchdown at the left sideline. Plays against the Rams week 4. So Deebo Samuel had his moments, but he was just inconsistent and overall had a down year. And he just flat out said he had an awful year. And I think that's good to hear, man. I think it's, and again, no one's coming down on Deebo Samuel. No one's trying to do any of that. But again, always good when you hear someone take some accountability, just be like, yeah, I wasn't prepared, didn't have my best juice, and it didn't translate into the best season for him. And if I know anything about Deebo, covering him since he was drafted from the 49ers, he is the kind of guy that will take that personal. He will take, people maybe talking about him being like, man, you didn't have your best stuff, or like you fall off after getting paid. I think he's the kind of guy that will take that personally and use that as motivation. And if he's talking about it, he knows it. He knows he's got to improve. And so I expect Deebo Samuel to get better. So that was cool to hear him say that stuff about his particular situation. We did get a update from Kyle Shanahan on the whole quarterback situation. It does sound like Brock Purdy is throwing 3 times a week, which is good. No setbacks, which is phenomenal. And but Kyle Shanahan definitely doesn't want to look too far ahead. And this has been something that, we've been talking about since the owners meeting, since the combine, is They're optimistic, but they will not say anything definitively about his return, and rightfully so. Don't want to set the expectation, don't want to set people up for disappointment. So, Kyle Shanahan basically said right now he is throwing 3 times a week. There's no setbacks, everything's going well, and we're not gonna really look towards training camp. Is there a target date? Probably. Uh, but they don't wanna share that, and that's perfectly fine, and I don't think they should. So, with Brock, it sounds like he's progressing pretty well, so that is good to know, and again, we'll continue to see how that all plays out once training camp rolls around. The other thing on Trey Lance is, I like what George Kittle had to say about Trey Lance. Uh, Basically, again, just speaking to Trey Lance's energy, his vibe, like just how improved that has been. And we've talked about it that again at nauseum about Trey Lance's situation, what he's been through, that impact it can have on a young man of his age, and just trying to understand the way of the NFL and things like that. Uh, so I like that Kittle is talking about, and I don't think Kittle would make any of this up. I don't think he would just say it to say it, but it does sound like Trey Lance is feeling the energy. He's having a good time, just like he said. Football's fun again, and that's a good sign. Again, that's what you want from your players. You want them confident. You want them energized, having fun, because again, football is a fun game, but sometimes players can let the expectation, can let assignment stuff just weigh them down, bog them down, overthink, overcomplicate things, and just gets in the way. So good. I thought that was good to hear about Trey Lance and everything that's going on. The interesting thing with the whole quarterback situation, though, is today Sam Darnold got primarily the starting reps with the ones, of course. That was the same at the last OTAs practice that they had. So that feels like a big time competition. Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, who's going to be quarterback 2 in training camp? Is it gonna be Trey Lance? Is it gonna be Sam Darnold? We're gonna find out, but, it does sound like Sammy is taking first team reps. I did see a couple things. I forget where I saw it, so apologies for not giving the proper credit. But I believe Trey Lance had hit Danny Gray for a big touchdown. It might have been from Grant. Uh, yeah. So Grant said Sam Darnold took nearly all the first team reps today and completed 8 of 13 passes with one dropped pick and lots of nice touchdown passes in the red zone. Trey Lance completed 9 of 14 passes and 70-yard touchdown pass to Danny Gray on 3rd and 8. Lots of touchdown passes from Sam Darnold in the red zone, and Trey Lance with a 70-yard bomb to Danny Gray. So hopefully, Danny Gray. Again, I've been a big. I don't want to call him a defender, but just I still believe in Danny Gray and the ability he possesses. I think Deebo even talked about Danny Gray, just again reiterating how difficult Kyle Shanahan's offense is for rookie wide receivers, as I always point to Deebo for that example, because he's talked about it. He talked about it his rookie year. He's talked about it every year since. Just the difficult ability to acclimate to Kyle's scheme, doing all the little things correctly, because as we know, Kyle runs such an intricate scheme and there's so many minor details for a young guy to try to grasp, especially at the wide receiver position. and that's like Kyle's baby. Kyle is like the de facto wide receiver coach. Even though they have Leonard Hankerson, Kyle's the head man in charge. So good to hear Danny Gray scoring touchdowns. Good to see Trey Lance connecting with Danny Gray. And honestly, it's good to hear that Sam Darnold's being effective in the red zone. Obviously, you don't want to see no dropped picks or nothing like that, but um, it's practice. Not going to get too bent out of shape either way because those things are going to happen. Justin says, Grant said Jordan Mason beat D. Winters as a receiver in coverage, and Elijah Mitchell is injured again. If Elijah keeps struggling with injuries, can Mason pass him on the depth chart? 100% Mason can pass him on the depth chart. I think we've had this conversation in a sense. So again, I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but really, I think we're looking at a current situation where it's Christian McCaffrey is clearing away the number one running back, right? He's the guy. There's no questions. He's the number one running back in the entire NFL. So, of course, he's going to be the number one running back on the San Francisco 49ers. With Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason, I really view it as a situation where it's 2A, 2B. They are in the same tier. I really believe Jordan Mason is that good of a player. Again, Justin is the guy who put me on to Jordan Mason right after the San Francisco 49ers signed him as an undrafted free agent. And from that point on, laser locked on Jordan Mason. And Jordan Mason has exceeded expectation every step of the way, whether it was in rookie training camp, or excuse me, rookie mini camp, OTAs, training camp, preseason, all the way to making the roster and what he did last year. Jordan Mason's for real. Like Jordan Mason is a real talent, and he's only going to improve as well. And if Elijah Mitchell can't stay healthy, then of course he can lose his job to Jordan Mason. Unfortunately, the NFL is defined by opportunity, and we're seeing that with Trey Lance. Trey Lance got his opportunity, but he got hurt. So unfortunately, he lost a massive, massive opportunity of being able to get a starting year under his belt as quarterback, right? Well, the same thing can be said about guys like Elijah Mitchell. If you're not available and you're not on the field and you're losing reps, and Mason is just getting better and better and better and just fitting into the scheme, and they're just continuing to be wowed by him. Like, yes, I'd still see a scenario where they're still on an even tier, but what you're talking about more is production share, usage, and things like that. So, what is that going to look like during the season? Well, if Elijah can't stay healthy, then of course Jordan Mason is going to slide into that role. And again, Jordan Mason as a wide receiver, we haven't even seen it in games. I've seen it in training camp. One of his one of my favorite attributes of his was his ability to be effective as a receiver out of the backfield. Kyle didn't even attempt to use Jordan Mason like that last year in games. So, like, we're all sitting here, like, if you didn't have the opportunity to go to training camp last year, but you saw him in preseason, remember what he did against Minnesota? Just ran straight through Minnesota. He ran. I feel like that Minnesota game, like, really, like, solidified, like, okay, Jordan Mason's that guy. Um, but if you didn't get to go to training camp and you just saw him in preseason, you saw what he did during the regular year, the regular season, playoffs, that type of stuff, you still haven't seen this other dimension that Jordan Mason has to his game, which is a pass catcher. He is a phenomenal pass catcher, phenomenal hands, phenomenal routes, phenomenal in space. I think a lot of people think of Jordan Mason as an in between the tackle bruiser kind of one cut go guy, but man, get the ball to Jordan Mason in the flat and watch that man cook. Like, again, he made some catches where I'm like, "That's a running back? That's a running back doing that?" Like, we haven't even seen that in real games. It's there. So, to me, Jordan Mason is a true 3 down running back. He can do it in between the tackles on base downs, and he can do, as long as the pass protection is there, they trust him in pass pro, and he can be a effective out of the backfield. That's fantastic. That's what we want. That's what we want. And thank you for the super chat, Justin. I appreciate it. I'm always hyped to talk about Justin's guy. If you don't know Justin, if you are unfamiliar with our head sourdough scout, this guy literally has a number 41 Jordan Mason jersey for the culture. That thing's gonna. I love. I know you were kind of bummed that that he switched his number, but I think that only solidifies how on board you were with him from day one. Is that you got the OG preseason number. It's fire. Tommy says Demo got torched today. Should we be worried? So again, I didn't see it, so I can't really provide you any context on the specific play or why he got burnt. What I can provide you is playing cornerback is a lot like offensive line, man. It is a lot like offensive line. You can go an entire game locking down the guys that line up in front of you. All it takes is maybe missing a key, maybe getting your eyes caught in the backfield, maybe getting your hips caught in the wrong direction and you're a step behind. I take those types of losses with a grain of salt because it's not if, it's like it's going to happen. As a cornerback, you're going to get beat. As a offensive lineman, you're going to get beat. It's just going to happen. So with Demo, the thing that you have to, I think, try to track is how consistent is this happening. Like when we talk about Ambry Thomas last year in training camp, Ambry Thomas had a rough training camp. He was getting beat all the time. It wasn't just on occasion or here or there or just maybe losing to Deebo or IU. He was getting beat by everyone. So I don't know if that's what's going on with Demo. Uh, but again, the way I would try to quantify it with the limited information that I do have is that cornerbacks are going to get beat. It's going to happen. Um, I just wish I had some context to provide if it was like one of those torched where you're like, "Ooh, that wasn't good." So I don't know. Um, I wish I could give you a better answer. Uh, Damon says, "Just because you're awesome, keep up the great work." I really do appreciate that, Damon. Thank you so much for that. The kind words, I really do appreciate it. I'm really trying, guys. Really trying, to give you the best possible coverage of this team that I can. Obviously, it gets a little difficult with where I'm, positioned, but I'm going to continue to do my best. I'm going to continue to try and break it down as best I can for, someone who's not there. But I do appreciate the kind words. I really do. I'm trying my best here to keep you guys in the loop, updated. And of course, this is our favorite team. Um, we want to know what's going on with our team. We want to know who's performing well, who's not, current updates, all that good stuff. So I do appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for that, man. I really do. Um, one of the other cool things that I think we got today was he says, why no one talking about Brandon Allen? Well, we kind of been talking about Brandon Allen. I I I think I've said that like 3 or 4 times. Like, should we? should we not sleep on Brandon? I don't think Brandon Allen has an incomplete pass in team periods. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I really don't believe that Brandon Allen has an incomplete pass in team periods. What do we think about that? Um, how do, how do we quantify that? Again, I was talking about it the other day about Brandon Allen. He reminds me the most out of Brock Purdy, out of any of the quarterbacks on the team, not named Brock Purdy. Sam Darnold has a ton of talent. Like Trey Lance has a ton of talent. Brandon Allen seems like a guy who got to where he was by doing all the small things extremely well. Technically, from a mental process, like kind of like Brock Purdy, right? Brock Purdy couldn't rely on raw talent. He had to take the talent that he did possess, which he does possess talent, so I don't want to get that twisted, but he mastered the processing side of it. He mastered the small details and situations and all types of those types of things. So I think if Brandon Allen continues to impress, I think there will be a conversation with this team of where does Brandon Allen fit in this four four situation, four quarterback room. We'll see, man. We will definitely see how that all plays out. But training camp will be the best test. Best test. Once we get more pass rush, once we get more stuff like that, it's going to be pretty fascinating to see. I'm excited to see all the quarterbacks with my own eyes and see what these guys are looking like. But so far, what I've seen from Brandon Allen is he just looks consistent. He just he just looks like one of those guys who's going to clock in. He's going to be the same guy every single day, and is capable of getting the job done. It's probably why he was the primary backup to Joe Burrow all of last season. So let's take a look at our first opportunity to see Javon Hargrave. My gosh, I knew this guy was big, but this dude is a load. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up. I know you've seen the clips already, but let's gaze and in awe together. Shout out Kate. Uh, look at this man, dude. This dude is huge. You talk about thick. Oh, we're on the same wavelength, Jason. Look at that. I didn't even see this. I didn't even see this. We're on the same wavelength. Look at Javon. that boy thick. That boy triple seed up. And that's fantastic from a trench perspective, man. Like you hear it all the time from evaluators. Like Mike Mayock used to get a bunch of crap for always saying, look at the butt on that guy, because obviously big glutes help with power, helps with hip drive, helps with being able to maintain your gaps. Uh, Obviously, we're having fun with the whole thick thing, but that stuff, I mean, that's how people evaluate. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at these guys, you look at the body. Obviously, he's big, but like the quads, the glutes, that's you talk about an anchor of an interior defensive line. That looks like an anchor. That looks like where you just plop that guy right in the A gap and you say, good luck moving him, because he just locks out his arms and just relies on that big old base to be able to not get moved. And so again, like we're having fun with it, but this boy is big and he moves well. And that's what you want. You want that combination of size, speed, strength on the interior. That makes it extremely difficult for offensive linemen to control those types of players because one, not only are they stout, but they have the ability to get off you. And that's what this guy is. And he has the ability to change the complexion of how offensive lines react to the 49ers defensive line. Because before it was slide protection to Bosa, chip Bosa. Now, if you aren't familiar with running backs and how they have to execute protections, let's say you wanted a you want your running back, your sliding protection to the left. You have your running back on your right side, so it's gun right, and he's basically looking to help with any rushers. If you somehow get Bosa singled up on that side, you have and running backs, they have to key inside first. Running backs are always keying for interior pressure. So their eyes are going A gap and they fan out to the edge. Well, if running backs immediately have to key on interior pressure on Hargrave, that is going to open up like, and that's a six-man protection. If you keep the 5-0 line and you keep running back, that's still a six-man protection. But if you're having to take that running back and suck him up into the A gap, and you got edge defenders, just you get that one-on-one, whether it's Drake one-on-one, whether you get Bosa one-on-one, it's going to free up things that they can do. So I'm excited about that, man. This is our first look at Javon in a 49ers uniform. I really do think he's going to be able to transform what we've seen with this defensive line. Again, Eric has been moved to kind of be that anchor since Defoe left. I think this frees up Eric to do a lot of different things because I think Defoe used to be the main penetrator on stunts, like interior games that the D line in play. He would always be the guy crashing down. They would always loop the other guy. But I think with Javon, you can interchange these twos in that role. Javon has the speed to get around as the looper, but he also has the strength and the base to be the guy crashing down on the guard to allow Eric to loop around. I think there's a reason why Javon was considered one of, if not the biggest free agent acquisitions by any team. Oh boy, that boy's big. I like it. Size, speed. Again, it's a good thick. It's not just chunky for no reason thick, if that makes sense. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that. Man, good stuff. I'm excited about the trench stuff. We didn't get a whole lot of Trent Williams was back today. Fantastic. That always brings a smile to my face to see Trent Williams back in the mix. Still the best left tackle in the NFL. And really excited that Trent was back today. Great opportunity to continue to build that continuity. Again, one of the other things that I think is going to be so helpful for this offensive line is Trent doesn't have to learn how to play with Aaron Banks anymore. Trent doesn't have to figure out how this guy is going to integrate next to him at right guard. These two know. They have a baseline, and now what they can do is they can improve upon the continuity that they started to build last year. And remember, like they had to build that continuity in games. Trent didn't practice a lot and during training camp, and they really had to build that continuity up, I think, in game. The fact that they have that whole season under their belt and you can take Aaron Banks and Trent Williams into this season with a full year of experience under their belt. I'm excited about that. Like, we look at Jake Brendel as, this old guy, right? He's what, in his early 30s, but he still got his first start last year at center for an entire season. So he has literal room for improvement as well. The game's going to slow down for Brendel. Brendel should be able to even take a step further in his mental maturation process. I don't think a whole lot's going to change physically, but it's more mental for Brendel, and he'll be more comfortable, all that stuff. So Brendel will be in a better spot. Burford looks massive. He has an opportunity to take massive, massive steps forward. Again, Burford's size, his traits, never been an issue. It's just mastering the position. And if he can do that, watch out. Watch out. Burford could be that guy. He could be That's the crazy thing about Burford, is he really does have potential to be one of the better guards because he has the physical side of it. He's got the footwork, he's got the body. I mean, you talk about body beautiful for an offensive lineman. Whoo! Burford looked we just talked about our other beautiful big boy Javon. Hey, Burford, like you wanna drop what like a prototypical guard looks like? I would say Burford looks like that. Long arms. He's like a tackle guard hybrid. And that's how he moves. That's how he operates. And if you can just take that next step in his maturation process, he's going to be good, man. He is going to be good. And Colton McKivitz. I haven't seen anything about Colton McKivitz from training camp or OTA's minicamp. Again, I could just be missing it. I would imagine there's not too many reporters parked out around the offensive linemen during bag drills because they're probably getting quarterback stuff, which totally, totally understandable. Um, absolutely understandable. But haven't seen a whole bunch on Colton. I do think Colton will be all right. I'm not worried about Colton. I don't think he'll be like a top 10 tackle, but if we're talking top 20, 10 to 15 range, I think that is very serviceable for what um the 49ers want to operate. What is your bold prediction for a dark horse player who will make an impact this year? I've talked about this dark horse before, like a dark horse way in the back of the stable, where I don't think he necessarily comes out going crazy on fire or anything like that, but I just get this sense that like down the stretch in key moments or key situations, Braden Willis will somehow pop. I don't know how, I don't know why, I don't understand why I even feel this way, but it's just a feeling. It's just a gut thing that I got that like I just feel like down the stretch of the season, Braden Willis is somehow going to make some big time plays for the 49ers. Might not be a lot of big time plays or anything, but like he might come away with just some crucial play. That's really, really dark horse back at the stable. Um, if I had to pick someone else, just trying to think, wide receiver, I really do feel like Debo and Ayuk are going to dominate. Snaps. Jawan Jennings is going to probably play his prototypical third down role. It'll be interesting to see if we get any more Danny Gray. LB3 is going to be an interesting one. You could probably pencil in maybe Jair as a dark horse. Maybe one of the bigger dark horses right now is Isaiah Oliver. And what it sounds like that Steve Wilkes has cooking for his new nickel. It sounds like they have a very definitive plan for what they want to do with that nickel spot, and it feels like they're very confident in Isaiah Oliver fitting that role. So that one will be interesting because it does sound like they're going to blitz out of the nickel a lot more. So if we're getting like 3-4 sacks out of our nickel on the year, that's pretty impactful. So we'll see how that goes, man. We'll definitely see how that goes. But Isaiah Oliver feels like he could be a dark horse. Oren Burks to me feels like he could be a dark horse. There's definitely a couple candidates for sure. For sure, for sure. Um All right. What other things? We've been kind of jumping around. What other takeaways have you guys gotten from minicamp today? I'm gonna keep going through. I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss. I'm sure I missed something. But if you guys had any takeaways from minicamp that stood out to you, have we talked about Bosa yet? I don't think we talked about Bosa yet. With Bosa, not surprised that he isn't practicing at all. I'm happy that he showed up, though. I'm happy that he's there. That to me is the biggest step, is that he's there. Don't really care that he's not playing because I've said it on this channel many times. I don't think Bosa should step on a practice field until he's paid. So as long as he's there, present, you know, being the silent bear that he is, I think that's good. I think that's exactly what you want. Um, but he does not, and I don't think we will see him step on the field until he's paid. He shouldn't. What I'm not gonna even I'm not even. He shouldn't step on the field until he's paid. So I would assume around training camp. That's my timetable for Bosa. I do like that he's there. I like that he's around the team. I like that he's in the building, getting his workout on. Doesn't need to be on the field. It's Bosa. No one's worried about Bosa. No one's worried about Bosa falling out of his routine. No one's worried about Bosa not working. No one. That is, you'll never hear one person echo that, oh, he needs the work, like, Bosa's been slacking a little bit. Wow. Bosa does not slack. Uh, he will absolutely be prepared and ready to rock for sure. So just as long as he's there, I like this. The bear should be hibernating. Set him up a cot in the back room. Give him a blanket, teddy bear. Give him some juice. Bosa, go sleep until you get paid. Not necessarily. Don't want him to sleep until he gets paid, but just go over there. Keep doing your thing. Keep working out. Keep putting in putting in the work. Do what you need to do. But here's your juice. Here's a teddy bear. You got a nice bed for you. Go over there. Just just relax. Don't think about stepping on the field. I know Bosa, you like to do pass rush moves on anything that's in front of you. Just just don't pass rush a soap dispenser, Leave the poles alone. You got Bosa out here like fiending to get on the field. Like that's the kind of person I think Bosa is. Like I think Bosa wants to be out there. I think he wants to be on the field. And they're like, I think him not being on the field, I'm sure it was probably nice at this period of time. But I guarantee you Bosa doesn't want to miss any training camp. I can't even recall Bosa ever missing training camp practices. He's always out there. That's he's a football guy. You got to drag him off the field. That's what you want. That's why you're going to pay him. That's why you're going to make him the highest paid defender in the history of the NFL. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Everyone knows it. It's the worst. It's the worst kept surprise, or it's like the worst kept secret in the NFL. We know Bosa will be the highest paid defender ever. It's gonna happen. It's just when is it gonna happen? Do I think Bosa gets paid this week? No. Would that be great if he did? Yes, but I don't. I don't think it happens. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the deadline for them to get this deal done is the first day of training camp. So as we know, especially with the 49ers, they got to push it right up against that deadline. And then when that deadline is here, pull the trigger, sign deal. That's what I would expect. That's my expectation, is that it will be they're going to use training camp day 1 as the deadline date. They're going to push it all the way up to that date, and then they're going to sign them. And then we rejoice, we celebrate, we discuss, and just rejoice in the Bear being a San Francisco 49er player for like the next 5-6 years. So just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Deebo talked about one of the big quotes to come out, viral quotes to come out, was Deebo talking about Brandon Ayuk. What we know already is, Deebo can whoop anyone in a phone booth. If you're not familiar with what that means, you think of a phone booth. It typically fits one person, right? So you can, phone booths. Do phone booths exist anymore? I don't know. If we got any Gen Z watchers, they're probably like, "What's a phone booth?" If you don't know what a phone, no, I'm just kidding. But effectively, what it means is you could be in this confined space, Ayuk with the defender, and Ayuk's gonna cook him in a tight spot. So that we know to be true. It sounds like Brandon Ayuk is again getting ready to have another phenomenal training camp. Man, if we get Deebo cooking and Ayuk cooking at the same time, and we got Juwan Jennings in a contract year, we get Danny Gray taking a step in year 2. We get Jordan Mason taking strides. Obviously, we're going to get CMC with a full offseason with the San Francisco 49ers. This offense, and again, it all hinges on the quarterback, right? It all hinges on the quarterback, but you look at everything else. You look at the offense. You look at the O-line. O-line should take strides, even with losing McGlinchey. They should take strides as a unit working together. They should get better. I think. I think there should. I don't know if it will be massive leaps of improvement, but I do expect them to get better with Colton McKivitz in the mix. Tight end's going to be interesting. I think the tight end's going to be interesting because we know what Warner is, we know what Dwelly is. We don't really know what Latu is, and we don't really know what Willis is just yet. So, going to be very interesting to see the way that plays out. But I do think the offense should improve, should get better. I think should be a little bit more deadly. I want to see more big plays out of this offense. They're kind of like death by 1,000 paper cuts last year. But I am looking forward to seeing how everything goes forward. I see the chat has taken word with this comment from Elijah Mitchell in the chat. Oh, we got Eli in the chat. Let's go. He says the offense is just check down, dink and dunk to CMC and slants. Matter of time before we get figured out. Good stuff. Just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. You've got what? More than half the NFL running Kyle's offense and emulating his offense. This is what? Year 7. Doesn't matter if he has a potato at quarterback. He somehow still figures out how to get the ball downfield. But don't worry. The NFL, year 7, this is the year. They're finally going to figure out what Kyle Shanahan's cooking over there. Only took 7 years with him here, and however many years he was with Atlanta and Cleveland and Washington and the Texans, but they're going to figure it out now. They're going to figure it out now. Running game. I think the running game is evolving. I still think, the running game wasn't where it should be last year. And I do think that was in part due to the O-line. I think the O-line can improve in that regard. But again, I do think the reason why Kyle is successful is because he uses what the defense does. And then as long as he has someone who can execute it, I think Kyle will get it done. I really do. I think it's hard to figure out. It's hard to figure out an offense that keys on the defense. You know what I mean? Because the offense is always reacting to the defense and what they're lining up in, and using their defensive keys against them. That's why Kyle has found so much success, because he uses your rules against you. And then if you start getting out of your rules, then he uses that against you. That's why he is considered to be a genius, as they say. But hey, whatever. What else? What else did we get from training camp today? I keep calling it training camp. Shout out Gang. I feel like I've been throwing ums out there like crazy today. Thank you for bearing with me. Let's see. Almost did it again. Stop myself. Pat on the back. Uh, I think the player that I really am excited to see is Deebo. I am. Like, you guys know I love BA. You guys know I think the world of BA. I think he's a prototypical wide receiver. I think he's a prototypical wide receiver one, especially at this point in his career. I think he is a if we had to boil it down to playing wide receiver in the traditional sense, I do think at this stage that Ayuk is a better wide receiver than Debo, but Debo brings so many other elements to the table, which makes him have a phenomenal game, right? But I do think Debo, I think I do think Debo can come out and go crazy this year. I think I think he feels it. You know what I mean? I think he feels it. I think he feels the pressure. And Debo strikes me as the kind of guy that needs to feel the pressure a little bit. Like he made it to the mountaintop, got paid, went through all that drama, definitely could have an impact. But now you kind of got people chirping at him. Like before, Debo was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, well, his own fan base kind of feels like, we kind of like. I mean, you've seen the conversations. You've seen the conversations. Would you rather have Brandon Ayuk or would you rather have Debo long term? I guarantee you, he's seen those conversations. And my takeaway from that is if you've polled the fan base and you said, who would you rather have long term, Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk? At this stage in time, I would say from what I've seen, this fan base leans Ayuk right now. That those little things to me, I think, can help kind of get Debo going in the right direction. I think he's been working his tail off. We know what talent he possesses. That's never been the issue. He's been an extremely talented wide receiver since coming out. That's why he was one of my favorite guys. But he said it himself, didn't have a great year last year, a little bit underprepared based on all the stuff that was going back and forth. Okay, how does he look this year? Prepared, motivated, and ready to prove people wrong. So I think we're going to get the best version of Debo and Ayuk maybe at the same time with CMC, with Kittle, with Kyle Juszczyk. This year feels urgent, right? And I think that's you know we get so hyper focused on the quarterback that it's hard to think about anything else sometimes. But this team is stacked. This team is built to withstand a long run. We've had a ton of questions about this team, about depth in the past. Like, think about those questions. I remember 2021. I remember I went on 95.7 the game. I think it was either Bonte or Shasky. They asked me what's the biggest weakness that you've seen from the San Francisco 49ers so far in training camp? And I said, it is secondary depth. Secondary depth is frightening. And I was in training camp. And that was the year we had Dre Kirkpatrick and what's his name? Josh Norman starting for us at one point. And I said in training camp, the scariest thing that the 49ers got going for them right now is their defensive back depth. Well, thankfully, fast forward to this year, and you look at the secondary depth, you look at I mean, I saw something where George Odom was playing first team reps across from Talanoa Hufanga. George Odom isn't someone to be slept on. He's an all-pro special teamer, right? But you've got Jair. Taylor Hawkins is slept on as an undrafted free agent. Quantrez Knight can play nickel and safety. The 49ers are cooking right now with depth. They bring in Isaiah Oliver. Samuel Womack should not be slept on. You've got Demo stepping up. Ambry Thomas is big make or break year for Ambry Thomas, but they go and get Darrell Luter Jr. So I like the secondary depth. I like the linebacker depth. I like the defensive line depth. I like the O-line depth. I like the quarterback depth. I like the running back depth. I like the wide receiver depth. Tight end depth. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Tight end depth's okay. If I had to be critical of the depth, it's just because there's so much unknown. And what we do know about the tight end position is meh, meh. Dwelly, Warner, I can live with it. It's not the worst. It's not the best either. So you look across the entire roster, stacked, depth. What is this team's biggest issue? Health. Okay. Okay, we might still be kicker. I didn't mention kicker. Oh, I missed kicker. We didn't talk about the kicker. Uh I need to figure out how to do like a kicker sounder update. Like I don't know if I can make this work. Let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I can. I wish I could do just audio. I don't know if I can do just audio, but in any event, it's not going to be pretty and well manicured, but oh, it's just in. We've got a kicker update. I don't know if you heard that audio. I have no idea. Hopefully you did, so I don't just look like a doofus. But kicker update. This just in from the front desk. We have massive update here on the 49ers kicking battle between Jake Moody and Zane Gonzalez. Matt Mayoko is reporting. I feel like is Mayoko the only one reporting on the kickers? I feel like he's the only one that we see with the kicker updates. But hey, breaking news. We got today's kicker update. And it was okay. It was okay. Hold on, let me pull it up. We'll get the production down. We'll get it figured out the next go around. But what do we got? Kicker update. Kicker update. Zane Gonzalez made a 33, 38 twice and a 43-yard field goal. Jake Moody made from 33 and 43 three times. Missed wide left from 38. His second make from 43 was an ugly line drive that somehow did not get blocked. Okay. Again, how do you evaluate this position? I don't know. I only know how to evaluate it. Did you make it or did you miss it? Uh, I know there's a bunch of nuance in regards to timing of snap, the hold, where the lace is in or the lace is out, that kind of stuff. Um, Obviously, there's technique involved that I don't know about. But Reading all just off this, it sounds like Zane won today, particularly again. If we have a kicking battle going on, sounds like Zane did better today, I guess, than Jake, according to this. Obviously, if Zane was perfect and we had a miss and an ugly make, I don't know. Can a make be ugly? I guess the concerning part is that he didn't know how it didn't get blocked, which means it was really low to the line of scrimmage. Um, uh, there's our update. There's our update. I need to get a kicker sounder going every time we talk about the kicker. Uh, yeah, yeah. Well, I wish I could give some sort of kicker analysis on this, but I had to take it for face value. I guess it's a good thing that he made the 43 yarder 3 times. It was the second 43 yarder that was ugly, but the silver lining is all he made all 43s 3 so 43 3 times, right? Just went wide left from 38. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what that continues to mean for the kicking battle. Kicking battle that we got cooking up. What else? What am I missing? What am I missing today? We did quarterbacks. We talked about Jordan Mason. We did wide receivers. There's not a ton coming out about tight ends. I did see something. Let me see. What did George said something about Latu. Uh George this is from Lombardi. He said George Kittle says that 49ers rookie Cam Latu eclipsed 19 miles an hour on the GPS trackers in OTAs. Kittle impressed by that mark, which is second best among SF tight ends. Kittle's obviously the fastest. He hit 20 and a half miles an hour in OTAs. Not bad. Not bad. Uh I guess that's a good thing. Latu doesn't really look like that's the speed that is put on tape, but it's good to know that he's got it. It's good to know he's got it. So we'll see. Jason says, "Bro, I need $1 every time someone asks why you have a Vikings helmet." Oh, take a guess. We've got 49ers and then two different helmets. Probably has to do with teams that I played for, and then I didn't play for them, though. I like them, though. It's my college, it's my community college team, high school team. I wish I had my other college helmet. Didn't get that one. Anything else? What do we miss? Anything else that we need to address for today from minicamp? I think we I think we covered it all. I think we covered it all. But feel free to let me know if I missed something or if there's something particularly that you wanted to talk about before we break for the day. I'm looking through. Do we want to watch like quarterback drills? I could pull him up. The great quarterback drill debate now. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's necessary. Mm, we already took a look at Hargrave, looking real sturdy. Uh, Danny Gray looking nice. Do a little compare and contrast. Maybe. Really, really riveting stuff we got here. Bubbly says 69 is my fave, but not for like smash that. I like that. Good one. We could pull some stuff up. Let's see. A little bit of compare and contrast. Ronnie Bell versus Danny Gray. Again, this is just they're basically working off press man. So how to basically release off the line of scrimmage. This is Ronnie Bell, 7th round wide receiver, looking pretty crisp, right? But Danny looking fast. Ah, man, I just can't shake Danny, man. I think Danny I think Danny is going to show out this training camp. Again, I don't know how you get him the ball more. Like, we got Brandon Ayuk out here fighting for his life to get the ball more. I don't know how Danny Gray is gonna get the ball more in this offense with the weapons that they have, but I don't necessarily believe that translates into he's not good. Like, I think people have a hard time sometime, like, especially with receivers and kinda rationalizing that, like, it's hard to, first of all, get your butt on the field, and then secondly, get targets when your name isn't Kittle, CMC, Deebo, Ayuk. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. Hard to get shots out there. Is Conley out there? How does he look? Yeah, he was in the line, I think, right behind Ronnie Bell. I've heard good things from Conley. I've heard good things. He's, definitely a veteran presence out there. I've heard I haven't heard bad things about Conley yet. Conley has a lot of experience in the league. So I think that's what you expect out of a guy like that. So what other clips do we get? Uh, yeah, I don't really feel like talking about quarterback clips unless you guys are dying. I really don't feel the need. I just don't feel the need. But anyways, shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for always tapping in with me, vibing with me as we kind of look across the landscape, take talk about some of the takeaways from minicamp today, what we learned, what questions we still have, things that we want to see, all that stuff. Nothing will compare to when we can get eyes on ourselves, but it'll be good. Ooh. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Grab your cookies on the way out. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Try to get this thing up to 100 on your way out. Appreciate you guys tapping in as always. Shout out to SDS. Appreciate you guys rocking with me. As always, Y'all the best. I'm out of here. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.